Mike Bond of MMA Junkie and USA Today Sports here in New York City following the Bellator NYC pre-fight press conference, standing next to Chael Sonnen, who meets Wanderlei Silva in a long-awaited grudge match in the headliner. Chael, off the top, I just want to ask you, what is dipyourcar.com?
Dipyourcar.com, man, it's essential like if you want to go paint your car, except it's not paint, it's a wrap and you do it yourself at home. And I appreciate you giving the shout out. That was very cool of you.
Well, I was
now, are you going to want like some money for this? Am I going to be buying dinner later? Is that how this works? That's what Dip Your Car is.
No, I was just curious. I was sitting up there. I guess I could have just searched it up, but I wanted to know from the man himself.
Yeah, no, thank you. What is checkered pattern dot? You know what? Let's just move on.
All right, there we go. We are wrapped up the press conference. Things got a little dicey there in the Staredown. I know we talked earlier this week, and you said if Wanderlei gets within arm's reach of you, the fight is on. He reached out and pushed you, so just talk us through what exactly happened there from your perspective.
I can't believe I keep falling for it. Every time I let that guy get within arm's reach, he does something. I won't make like today was some big deal, so he touched me, but it could have been a punch. It could have been a kick. I don't know why that guy has to get so handsy all the time. Even if we were coming across the stage, I put my hand, I said, just stop right there. They can take the photo from there. Let's just stay apart for a little bit. And, my biggest thing with it is I don't want this fight called off. I don't want it canceled for any reason. I had Anderson Silva pull some stuff at a weigh-in one time, and I knew it's because he didn't want to do the fight. He was trying to get me to attack him so he could go to the hospital and play up to an injury, and I'm not falling for any of this stuff. So, if I got to take some pushes from Wanderlei Silva or whatever it is, man, this fight's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's been a long time since you were actually, face-to-face with him. When you're, looking in his eyes during the stare-down, do you see anything there out of him, or are you not the type that kind of looks into it that much?
No, I don't look into it that much, and I was trying not to look him in the eyes. I take that as a sign of aggression. If he would have looked at me, or if I could have got to him first, I probably would have. But, it's one of those things. I'm glad it didn't escalate. I'm glad it's over, and we'll move on.
Yeah, I guess everyone has their own approach. You see Lorenz Larkin there, he looks down. That's kind of what John Jones always does. Is there kind of any thought going into these stare-downs, or are you just there for the photo?
Yeah, not for me. Let's just do the photo and part ways. I don't love being around my opponent. I don't like doing media with them. And, a stare down is pretty important. It's kind of tradition and procedure in the sport, so you got to do it. But I just think in a case like Wanderlei and I, man, it's probably just safest for everybody if you just keep us apart.
Yeah, of course. And, speaking at the press conference, when you talk about, it seems like there's some level of respect there, the fact that you guys have a long history in the sport, that you've fought a lot of the best. You're making kind of nicer comments towards him, and he's over there shaking his head like he agrees with you. Is there any level of respect here with Wanderlei?
I would say so. I mean, I've never fully understood what the term respect means. I don't really get it, but he's had a long and storied career. I don't make any illusions about it, but who gives a goddamn what his career was? I don't like him. I would have stopped him early in his career. I can remember the first time I wanted to fight him was 2001. He's over in Japan beating guys up that the referee's getting told by the promoter in the back through his earpiece when to stop the fight and when they should go down. He went 22 straight in Japan. I remember seeing him celebrate on the ropes, and I was looking at him going, oh man, this guy really thinks he's winning these fights. He doesn't know that these are all fixed. And I was jealous and angry back then. People were scared of him. Fellow fighters were asking him for his autograph and pictures. And I'm going, man, screw this guy. Let me in there with him. I've dealt with bullies before, and every time you stick a finger in a bully's chest, they back down. I called him out in 2001. He didn't know what to do. He doesn't want to be here now.
Yeah, and you've referred, to the Pride days a lot. Fedor Emelianenko is sitting next to you at the press conference as well. Has there been any interactions with him, based off some of those previous comments?
No, I talked to Fedor a little bit in the back, but it's really limited. I don't know how good his English is, and the only things I like to talk to Fedor about is he's a Russian, and I'm a big wrestling fan, and the Russians are so dominant in wrestling. So sometimes I wonder, has he ever worked out with Sadulayev or Karelin? And he gives me a little bit of insight on those guys. He hasn't worked out, but he gives me a little bit of insight on those guys. But, Fedor is universally a very nice guy, in fairness.
Right, and one of the last things here, Wanderlei, I talked to him earlier this week. He said this is one of the last true rivalries in MMA right now. People put on a show, they do all these things, but this is real. Would you agree with that? Would you say this is one of the last true ones? I mean, John Jones and Daniel Cormier might have something to say about that, but yeah. What's your take on that?
Oh, that's a great example. Those guys do have a grudge. I think that's right. I don't like to work off of animosity. I just as soon be civil as anybody else. I don't like Wanderlei Silva, and there's no reason to hide it or sugarcoat it. There's guys in this sport that think this is about respect and honor, and then they see respect and honor as lying about an opponent, saying something nice to his face and putting a knife in his back. I'll tell the truth. I will tell you to your face that when you turn around, I'm going to put a knife in your back, and then I will.
And in terms of the fight itself, is any victory satisfying for you in this fight, or do you feel like you want to go out there, stop him inside the distance? Do you want to beat him up for 3 rounds? What in your mind is going to be the most satisfying way to win?
Yeah, no, I would never play with a guy. I would never stay out there longer than I have to. I would go out there and get him out of there as quickly as I can. And as far as how it goes, I don't care. I don't care if we got to stand and bang and all these stupid things you hear. Look for a finish. It's all stupid. You're out there looking for a victory, and you get it as quickly as you can. If you have to go the distance, and you go the distance.
Perfect. Thank you for the time, Chael.
That
We're looking
was
forward to
perfect.
it.
That really was a perfect interview. You'll like how many clicks you get on this.
Awesome.
You're going to find out it's good to do business with the bad guy.